was plenty of money in the budget to accommodate that. And evidently, some people think that's threatening. Now, as the vote went down, I was 1 out of 7. There is a checks and balance here, and that was it. And so I lost. I got the 1, and the 7 got the go-ahead, and the safety levy passed. I actually gave a few people my word I wouldn't speak against it as long as they kept it clean and they didn't, oversell the levy as far as the truth of the levy. They were, in my thought process or in my analysis, they were. The levy is not the only funding source for the police department. We have, in fact, the full funding source for the police department is the general fund. So even with the safety levy, we have a shortfall. So I felt there was enough in other departments and other areas, actually holdovers and contingencies, that we could fully fund the safety of the city of Grants Pass and not raise taxes. And for that, I get the check marks.
Yeah, and you certainly have the right to say those things, I think, as an elected official, that's for sure. Final question here for the 4 of them. And this regards open meeting laws, and I noticed in reading many of the articles, this was an issue with some people. If the charge the petitioners have filed says that you have repeated failure to fully understand Oregon open meeting law. Open meeting laws are relatively written. There's rules regarding open meeting laws. So again, I'm not sure what this means, how this plays out here. So Bill, why don't you start us off with that? Okay. Failure to fully understand, you didn't say violate, but understand open meeting laws.
Well, I fully understand open meeting laws after being on there 2.5 years, and councilors cannot make decisions or debate issues unless in a public meeting. And councilors cannot meet in a setting that constitutes a forum of 5 or more except in a public meeting. It's really straightforward when you get down to open meeting laws. And so I don't see what the issue is. I don't understand it. Maybe, well, we can't ask, but I just cannot understand why that's on there. I've never met with these guys or anybody with a quorum outside of an open meeting, not even at a social gathering or anywhere else. So I don't know where that comes from, and that's all I can say about it. So,
Mark, where did the open meeting, how did this come up?
Gee, I'm not quite sure. There's I think it's got several, maybe several places it's derived from. And again, I'm not quite sure what is meant by it. And I am, like Bill stated, although I'm new to the territory, I've read the ORS 162 point, all of them, more than once. He's completely correct. You have to have a quorum. I've never been in a quorum other than in a scheduled meeting. I don't think anybody has ever been in a quorum that I know of it's other than a scheduled meeting. I guess that's it's strictly a judgment call. I guess that if you were to email somebody and they were to email somebody else, it'd be no different than, I guess, if I met somebody on the street and talked to you, and then you talked to so and so, and you talked to so and so. You probably know how that story would go by the time you got it back. it would never be the same. But as far as making any decisions, there's not even close. So yeah, I'm baffled by that charge.
It says repeated failures is the word there, the repeated part of that. Rob, any comments?
If I'm not mistaken, I think that 1 or 2 of the councilors who were not been brought up on recall charges, I think they may have made some statements at council meetings that something along the lines of, "Oh, it's obvious that you guys, have been meeting. It's obvious. Everybody knows. It's so clear." Well, first of all, I don't know who it was obvious to, but those alleged meetings never happened. I've never been at a meeting where there's a quorum of councilors making any kind of decision. I don't think I've ever been at a meeting since we were sworn in where there was even 4 of us together, although I could be wrong on that, but I don't remember one. I've never been on a teleconference where there's been a quorum making decisions, or even 4, possibly even 3, well, maybe 3. I think with regards to the city attorney, when we met in their offices, we had 3 one time and 4 another. And other than that, I can't think of a time. So with regards to violating public meeting laws or understanding public meeting laws, it's my understanding that we can't be discussing things with a quorum in any way, shape, or form. We can't be making decisions with any kind of electronic chat room or rapid response email stuff, and none of that's ever happened. So that's my understanding of the public meeting laws.
Warren, you know where all this came from?
Well, yeah, I know where it came from, I think. I think it is just another charge. What I've learned is that when you are a public figure, people can say what they want to say about you with no consequence when you're a public figure. So it's very easy to sit back and make false accusations, and then for the courier, the media, the newspaper, to print them in a headline, and then people think that's truth. A lot of people see that headline and it's truth. And I actually am very offended by it. In all of my years, I have never had any kind of I've never broken a law. I've had a couple of traffic citations like everyone else, but that's it. And so when I read the newspaper and it says that I have broken, or we have broken state meeting law, I'm very offended by having my reputation tarnished and implying or stating that we're lawbreakers. Because I know the meetings law very well. In fact, I have read it a half a dozen times at city council meetings, because sometimes I think we understand it better than some of the people that are trying to interpret it for us. So like the others, I've never been in a quorum, and I really take offense to the fact, but it is a politically motivated charge, no question about it. I want to see the proof.
Okay, Mark? Hang on here.
I guess one other comment is that some of these charges have been alleged against us and have gone to the level of the state attorney generals. And so far, every charge has come back from them and has been, we've been vindicated. They're no longer doing any work on it at this point that I know of. And so maybe we do understand the public meetings law, because the state attorney general seems to agree with us also.
Yeah, they're pretty cut and dry, most state meeting laws. Here's a question for Rob and for Ward on their petitions on them. It says, charges you individually obtaining costly non-local attorney services without proper consent or contracts. And I think they're talking here about the relationship with Tom's, was it Sponsler? Sponsler. Would you go ahead and comment on that? Individually, not as a group, individually obtaining costly non-local attorney services without proper consent. It seems if you're individually doing it, you don't need any consent, but that seems to be an odd charge.
Well, we've been in a situation where in the past we had a 1.5 full-time equivalent city attorney. Currently, we only have a 1/2 equivalent part-time city attorney. And so we're very understaffed there. And this part-time city attorney is buried in work, obviously. It's too much work for a half-time part-time employee. And through this so-called crisis, we have needed to have legal advice. You know, the city staff has legal advice, and the city council needs legal advice to navigate the waters through this situation. It's a personnel issue, and that's what it was, which has been turned into a crisis, which is unfortunate. But we have needed, in order to protect the citizens from legal action and lawsuits by people that tend to sometimes be oriented towards litigation and lawsuits, we have tried to get the best advice we can at every turn to protect our citizens against lawsuits. And those lawsuits, the threats have been made, and they're still out there, and we have tried to get those retracted, but apparently they're not willing to retract the legal threats. I will continue to do whatever I need to do as an elected official to try and protect our citizens against unjustified lawsuits. So.
Rob, would you like